What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. As we inch closer to Age of the Overlords, the next set of cards I'll be covering are meant to be played with many decks. As such, I'll be using my first couple of combos to showcase the Snake Eye engine itself before showcasing a bunch of different ways that you can use these cards. But first, if you're a fan of in-depth combo videos, new set coverage, and occasional fun stuff that we like to do on the channel, then gently tap on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons to claim your sinful spoils. Now, this first card that we have here is Snake Eye XL, and it reads, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. You can send this card and one other face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon one Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except XL. You can only use each effect of XL once per turn, and seeing as how this adds any level 1 fire in the game, you can see how there's a couple of relevant cards like the Hydrant from Rescue Ace, and the new TG level 1 that can make use of this card if you would like to allocate the slots to it. But we're going to grab our second new card, the Snake Eye White Birch, and this one reads, if you control a fire monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Snake Eye White Birch once per turn this way. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can send this card and one other face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon one Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except White Birch. You can only use this effect of White Birch once per turn. Now we're going to special summon it since we control the XL, and we're going to use the XL's on-field effect, which I would like to point out something to remember with these cards is that the send effect for this one and the next one are both during your turn, while this one is a quick effect on your opponent's turn. So just kind of an easy way to remember these effects, but we're now going to get our next new card, the Snake Eye Orc, and this one reads, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one of your level 1 fire monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it. You can send this card and one other face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon one Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except Snake Eye Orc. You can only use each effect of Orc once per turn. Now we're going to continue by using its Monster Reborn effect to bring back the White Birch, and now we can use the effect of the Orc on field in order to send itself and the White Birch to bring out our next new card. And this is Snake Eye's Flamber's Dragon. It reads, you can target one monster in the graveyard or face up on the field, place it face up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one monster on the field, treat it as a continuous spell, special summon it to your field. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 level 1 fire monsters from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of Snake Eye's Flamber's Dragon once per turn. Now, I'm kind of just doing all of this to show the most that you can do with the engine, and how you play your hands may be different depending on the things that you have. So I just want to show the concept that we have of the engine here, as we're going to bring back the Orc off of the Flamber's Dragon, and we'll go on to our opponent's turn where we can use the effect of the Flamber's Dragon, special summon out the Orc, and keep in mind that this can be any other monster that you choose to place in the spell and trap zone from the Flamber's Dragon's effect, which will be more relevant a little bit later in the video, as we're going to use the effect of the Orc to bring back the White Birch. And now we can use the effect of the White Birch if you would like to. If you're playing pure Snake Eyes, you can do something like this, where you use the effect of the Flamberge along with the effect of the XL in order to get yourself more follow-up with a second copy of Orc, and then bring out 2 level 1s off of the Flamberge Dragon. And just like that, you have 4 scapegoat tokens with attack points and defense points. So for the second combo, I'll be showcasing the second new set of cards within the archetype, the Diabellestarr and Sinful Spoils stuff. This one is Sinful Spoils Hunter Fiend. You can add one Diabellestarr monster from your deck or graveyard to the hand. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target one of your Sinful Spoils spell traps that is banished or in your graveyard except Hunter Fiend. Place it on the bottom of the deck, then draw one card. You can only use each effect of Hunter Fiend once per turn, and this is nice because it's a quick play spell that adds your Diabellestarr, and I'll go over why the Volcanic Shell is here momentarily, but we're going to add the Diabellestarr from our deck to our hand during the draw phase because of the quick play spell, and then we'll be able to add ourselves Diabellestarr the Dark Witch. This one is a level 7 spellcaster dark monster that reads, you can special special summon this card from your hand by sending one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard. You can only special summon Diabellestarr the Dark Witch once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects of Diabellestarr the Dark Witch once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can set one Sinful Spoils spell directly from your deck. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. And you can see where the Volcanic Shell here becomes a cool little resource where once you send it to the graveyard off of the Diabell, you can get yourself another copy of it by its effect, and you also have the ability to even revive it if you wanted to, since it's a level 1 fire. And we're going to get ourselves our next new card, the original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. Send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon one level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Snake Eye or Diabellestarr monster in your graveyard, add one level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand, then place the targeted monster on the bottom of the deck. You can only use one original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye effect per turn, and only once that turn. In variants, you may only play the Diabellestarr stuff, and I'm mentioning this because moving forward, I won't be using the Snake Eye cards for all the variants that I'm going to show off, since just doing it with Diabellestarr is easier, and the only thing that you need is the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye along with any face-up card in order to get any level 1 fire in the game. So if you do want to play the Snake Eyes cards for the extra bodies, you can. It just takes the extra space, and we're going to use the effect in order to special summon out the XL, and then we're going to use the effect of the XL, get ourselves the White Birch, as we'll be able to special summon out the White Birch, use the effect of the XL, bring out the Orc, use the effect of the Orc in order to bring back the White Birch or the XL, doesn't matter, as we're going to use the effect of Orc now in order to bring out the Flamper's Dragon. Use the effect of the Flamper's Dragon. Important to note that you don't have to get your Orc. Depending on the situation, you can also get your Diabellestarr, which will also allow you to get into a spell trap on your opponent's turn. But because we currently don't have anything that you can activate on your opponent's turn, it's not really worth it in my opinion, so we'll use the effect of the Shell, as we're then going to be able to go and use the effect of the Sinful Spoils Quick Play to put back the original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye into the deck and draw one, as we'll go on to our opponent's turn, use the effect of the Flamber's Dragon at any point that you would like to. From here, you can then use the effect of Orc in order to revive the White Birch. Use the effect of the White Birch, as we can now send the Flamber's Dragon along with itself in order to bring out the XL. And now we can use the effect of the Flamber's Chainlink 1, the XL Chainlink 2. This will get us a copy of Orc along with 2 level 1s on board. So again, it's just something for board presence. You have like 4 little mini scapegoat tokens here, except with attack and defense points. But you also get card advantage via the Orc, and just a cool little resource loop that you get yourself into, even if you really aren't ending on interruptions. But again, that's kind of the point of it being an engine. So now I'm going to showcase a whole ton of variants, and the first one that we have here is Infernoble Knights, and this one takes Diabellestarr plus the Ogier, and we're going to use the effect of the Diabellestarr pitching the Ogier, and then we can use its effect in order to get ourselves the Sinful Spoils original one, and we're going to use the original Sinful Spoils, and then special summon out your Snake Eye level 1 if you would want to in order to get your Renaud, or in this case I'm just going to use the effect of Renaud to get back the Ogier so that we can just go into our Isolde. So again, I'm not playing the Snake Eye stuff you wouldn't in Infernobles anyways, so we're going to go into our Isolde now as we sent the Oliver, and you're going to see that I added the Gearfried. This can change depending on what the rest of your hand is, but we're going to use the effect of Isolde sending the Angel Ring, and this is another new card that we'll be getting in Age of Overlords. This one reads, equip only to a monster you control that is equipped with an equip card. You can only control one Angel Ring, negate the effect of your opponent's first spell card or effect that resolves each turn. So this is kind of like that left arm, right arm spell cards that we got way back when, where you can negate the first spell card activated, and once per turn, while the card is equipped to a monster, you can gain 500 life points, then destroy this card, and if you do, apply this effect. While While the monster this card was equipped to is face up in the monster zone, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. So that's the effect that you won't be really using as much as an Infernoble. You just want that spell negation so that you can beef up your board. And we're going to use the Richardetto now to bring back the Ogier. And now we can go into our Angelica, use the effect of Angelica in order to get our Museum. The Museum will get us into a equip spell, as we're just going to get ourselves the Joyous. You can really get yourself any equip spell here, as we're just going to activate it, or we're going to activate the Ogier first so that we can special summon it, and then we'll activate the effect of the field spell, then use our Joyous so that we can trigger off the Angelica, getting us into our Roland, and then we'll be able to send the Turpin off of the Angelica, as we'll now use the Roland along with the Ogier to go into our Charles, use the effect of the Roland, equipping it to the Charles, go into our Charlemagne, use the effect of Charlemagne, equipping Charles, and now we can use the Oliver to get the targeting protection, go to the end phase where we'll bring back the Angelica, use the effect of the Charlemagne to get back the Angel Ring, as we can also equip the Ogier to it, giving us a standard Infernoble setup off of just the Diabellestarr plus Ogier 10. Now for this next one, again, I'm just going to be using Diabellestarr, as we're going to pitch the effect, or we're going to pitch the Talents, get ourselves the original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye, then we'll be able to special summon out the Hydrant. From here we can use the effect of the Hydrant, getting ourselves the Airlifter. We can then use the effect of the Airlifter, which will get us the Emergency. Now we can use the effect of the Emergency. From here we can do our Rescue A stuff as we get the Turbulence, use the effect of the Turbulence. The Alert will then be able to add us the Preventer, and then you can special summon out the Preventer, as this will be able to get you into the Puzzlemino, or you can go into Sunlight Wolf, depending on whatever you want to do, but we're going to bring back the Airlifter off of the Preventer so that we can special summon it under the Puzzlemino, and then use the effect of the Puzzlemino, which will change it to level 2, and then this will allow us to go into Gigantic Sprite, use the Gigantic Sprite to bring out the Ibly, and now we can go into a copy of Beat Cop, as we'll special summon out the Ibly, and then we can use the effect of the Beat Cop, which will allow us to make the Ibly indestructible, and from here we can pass to our opponent on this. Now for this next one, we'll be using the Volcanic Shell again, just for those extra discards, as we're going to get ourselves the copy of the original Sinful Spoils, and then use the effect of the Volcanic Shell because we will need it, as we're now going to use the effect of the original Snake Eye, get ourselves the Evil Tile Mega Chirella, I think is how you pronounce it, and we're going to use its effect in order to tribute itself, and then special summon out our Evil Sor Rios, and this is a new card, I believe, from Duelist Nexus that allows us to send a dinosaur monster from our deck to the graveyard. It's really one reptile or dinosaur, but we'll be getting ourselves the Misk, and we'll also get our Evo Singularity off of it. And then we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Volcanic Shell, getting ourselves that extra card. Use the effect of the Rios in order to send the Misk, and now we can use the effect of the Misk, as we'll be able to special summon out the Arco, and then you can use the effect of the Arco, popping the Rios, important because you want it in the graveyard for your Singularity, as we're going to get ourselves the Evo Pill, go into the Link Karibo, where now we can activate the Evo Pill, banish the Diabellestarr along with the Arco, because I know that most dinosaur decks won't be running the Volcanic Shell, so you still have the Diabellestarr, bring out our Tyranno, and then on our opponent's turn, we can activate the Evo Singularity, and this will special summon out our 2 Evil Tile and Evil Sar monsters, so that we can go into our Dolka and Lagia. And I'm sorry, it doesn't special summon them. You special summon out the extra deck monster, and then it attaches them as material. So now I want to show a different way that you can approach dinos. Just like the previous one, we're going to be using Shell for the extra discards. So we're going to use the effect of the Diabellestarr, get ourselves the original Snake Eye. We'll then use the effect of the Shell to get another copy of itself, as we'll then be able to activate the original Sinful Spoils, bring out the Chirella, as we'll then use its effect, pitching the Volcanic Shell, getting ourselves the Xenometeoros, and now we can use the effect of the Xenometeoros, destroying the baby in order to bring out Frost, and then we'll use the effect of the baby in order to get Ovi. We can then use Ovi's effect in order to get ourselves a copy of baby, and then we can normal summon the baby, or go into our Lars first, as we'll then be able to normal summon the baby, use the effect of Ovi in order to pop the baby, reviving the baby in the graveyard, then use the effect of the baby to bring out the Misk, and now we can go into a rank 4. Now keep in mind, you can do any rank 4 and rank 6 that you would like to. I'm just doing these two for the video. Now for this next one, again, we have Diabellestarr plus Shell, best friends, and we're going to be able to pitch the Volcanic Shell off of the Diabellestarr, bring out our original Sinful Spoils, use the effect of Shell, as we're now going to normal summon the Volcanic Shell, and this one is a little bit different because we're going to special summon out Jet Synchron, and this gives us access into a level 8 Synchro. We'll go into our Diabellestarr, and Diabellestarr actually lets us send level 1 fire of our own here. That's a plant monster. And what this card says is if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you can special summon this card. Then if you control another plant monster, you can have the attack and defense of one monster on the field. You can only use this effect of Fengli once per turn. Once per turn if this card on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one plant monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. And the only effect that we care about is the ability to special summon once it's sent from the deck to the graveyard off of the Diabellestarr. As we're going to bring it back, then you can go into any level 9 Synchro you would like to go into, as we're just going to go into Power Tool because I want to show that this is an option for equip spell decks that you may want to try out, even if you are playing kind of like the extra Garnets. Just an interesting concept that I was looking into. Now for this next one, and the final one with the Diabellestarr engine stuff, before I get into the Snake Eyes deck as a whole, as I do want to show a test hand of that, and we're going to use the effect of the Diabellestarr in order to get ourselves the Sinful Spoil spell card that will allow us to get us into our TG. And if you saw my TG video, you can skip straight into the next combo, as we'll be able to bring out the Screw Serpent and then use the effect of the Screw Serpent in order to bring back the TG Rocket Salamander. Go into our Overdragner. The Overdragner will then be able to revive the TG stuff from the graveyard, as we'll go into our Star Guardian, use the effect of the Star Guardian to get back the rocket. Now on our opponent's turn, we have a quick Synchro into Baron. So just off of the Diabellestarr, you can see how all these decks that need one level 1 to really go off are able to do its thing. Now finally for the test hand, I want to get into the Snake Eyes Diabellestarr deck, and I am playing the new Horus cards. This one is called Imseti, Glory of Horus. If you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only special summon Imseti, Glory of Horus once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects of Imseti, Glory of Horus once per turn. You can send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, including this card. Add 1 King Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. Then you can draw 1 card. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, while this card is in your monster zone, except during the damage step, you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. And you'll see how this also can synergize with the Volcanic Shell, as this is something else that happens to send a card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can just replenish those resources. But we're going to use the quick play, get ourselves into another copy of Diabellestarr. We'll then be able to go onto our main phase, where we're going to pitch the XL in order to special summon out the Diabellestarr, and now we can use the effect of the Diabellestarr to get our original Sinful Spoils. And I'm sorry, I forgot to read the trap here. Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Sylvia. Normal trap that reads send 1 Diabellestarr monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, then target 1 face-up card on the field, negate its effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your Diabellestarr monster's effect or Sinful Spoil spell trap card or effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that opponent's effect. You can only use 1 Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Sylvia effect per turn, and only once that turn. So now we're going to activate the original Sinful Spoils in order to get us into our level 1, and in this case it's going to be the Orc because we're playing the Snake Eyes deck, bringing back the XL so that we can use the XL Search effect, as we'll then be able to get ourselves the Volcanic Shell, use the effect of the Orc to bring out the Flamberge Dragon, then use the effect of the Flamberge to put the Diabellestarr in the spell and trap zone. We'll then activate the Horus in our hand in order to get ourselves the Pharaonic Sarcophagus, and this is a continuous spell card that reads, Horus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects unless they target them. You can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, send 1 Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of King Sarcophagus up to 4 times per turn. Once per turn, at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard. Now to continue, we're going to activate the Ember's Dragon, I believe, as we do draw 1 off of the Misty, or the Imseti of Horus, and we're going to use the Volcanic Shell, and then activate the Pharaonic Sarcophagus Sarcophagus. Again, this is another strong point of the Volcanic Shell, where now you can start discarding it for the Pharaonic Sarcophagus, as we're going to send our Happy, and this is another Horus card that reads, if you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. So you can see a bunch of level 8 spam there with these Horus cards. You can only special summon Happy once per turn this way. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your monster zone, except during the damage step, you can target 2 cards that are banished and or in either graveyard, either add them to the hand or shuffle them into the deck. And that is a really crazy effect, but you can only use this effect of Happy once per turn. Now we're going to continue by using the effect of the shell in order to recur or get another copy of itself so that we can use the Pharaonic Sarcophagus again. And then we'll be able to send our third Horus monster, I'm not pronouncing that, but it's the water one. And if you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only special summon this one once per turn this way. Gains 1200 attack defense for each Horus monster you control. And if another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, while this card is in your monster zone, except during the damage step, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters with different names in your main monster zones. You can only use this effect of this Horus monster once per turn. Now to continue, we're going to special summon out all our Horus monsters, and this gives us the ability to either make rank 8 that takes 2 monsters or 3 monsters, so if you don't want to play the water one, you don't have to. But in this Snake Eye build, I am running the Coach King, and I would like to point out that this is where we have some glaring weaknesses and strengths with the Horus stuff, where an imperm on the Coach King for all those resources that you just used up is pretty bad. At the same time, being able to pitch stuff to the graveyard and get all those draws and resources brings you a really high ceiling. So we're now going to use the Coach King 3 times in order to get our draws, as we do happen to draw into an extender, and now we're going to use the effect of the quick play in our graveyard to get another draw one, special summon out the White Birch. And I would like to point out, I went into IP here. You can go into SP Little Knight also if you don't want to go into the IP Masquerena. Again, this is another new card to affect monsters. If this card is link summoned using a fusion, synchro, exceed, and or link monster as material, you can target 1 card on the field or in the graveyard, banish it. Also, your monsters cannot attack directly for the rest of the turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including at least 1 monster you control. Banish both monsters until the end phase. You can only use each effect of SP Little Knight once per turn. So this is kind of like a way to play around Nib and stuff, where you can go into SP Little Knight early in your turn, banish if your opponent activates the Nib. But we're now going to continue our turn by setting 2, and then we can go on to our opponent's turn, where we would be able to activate the Flamber's Dragon, bring out the Diabellestarr, get ourselves another copy of Quick Play, and then we have the Trap as an effect veiler for our opponent's turn. We also get whatever draws, which turn into Interruption. With all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and the first thing I would like to say is that I will only be doing the deck profile for the Snake Eyes stuff, as I don't currently have any deck profiles for the variant, because I feel there's more testing to be done there, and I don't want to give anything I'm not confident with. And to start here, I want to read over the new cards I didn't get to read throughout the combos, and the first one that we have is Stellar Nemesis Typhon. It takes 2 level 12 monsters. If your opponent special summon 2 or more monsters from the extra deck this turn or the previous turn, you can also exceed summon this card by using the 1 monster you control with the highest attack, your choice if tied. Transfer its materials to this card. If summoned this way, you cannot normal summon or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn. While you control this exceed summoned card, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3000 or more attack. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, return 1 monster on the field to the hand. So this is kind of like an anti-Zeus card, which makes it a pretty solid pick in my opinion. And then there's also the other Horus that I didn't get to talk about, and this one, the AGOV of Horus, reads, if you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only special summon AGOV of Horus once per turn this way. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, while this card is in your monster zone, except during the damage step, you can activate this effect. This turn, your opponent's monsters cannot target Horus monsters for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target Horus monsters on the field with card effects. You can only use this effect of AGOV of Horus once per turn. Then the next ones that we have are the Snake Eye cards that I didn't end up using, as we also have Shrine, the field spell. It reads, when this card is activated, you can place one Snake Eye monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in its owner spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Level 1 fire monsters you control gain 1100 attack. Once per turn, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can target one monster card on the field, treat it as a continuous spell, special summon it to your field. You can only activate one the Shrine of Serpentine Knight per turn. And something I would like to say about this card is that because of the current support, I don't think it's crazy, but I think that this is a card that has the potential to be crazy with future support, so that is something to point out. Then we have the Sinful Spoils of Doom, and this one reads, target one level 7 or higher spellcaster monster you control, apply these effects in sequence. That face-up monster is unaffected by other monsters' effects this turn, but send it to the graveyard during the standby phase of the next turn. All face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to monster's attack. Then, if any of those monsters' attack has been reduced to 0 as a result, destroy it. You can only activate one Sinful Spoils of Doom per turn. And again, a low impact card in my opinion. It's just something that won't see play like that. As then we finally have the Trap card, which is the last of the new cards we'll be getting in Age of Overlords for these two sets of archetypes. And this one is the Glaring Ruler Snake Eyes. If the total levels of all Snake Eye monsters you control equal 2 or more, activate one of these effects. Target one monster in your opponent's graveyard or face-up field, place it face-up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Target one monster on the field, or target one monster card on the field, treat it as a continuous spell, special summon it to your field. You can only activate one the Glaring Ruler Snake Eyes per turn. And again, this is another card I think could get better with more support. And maybe you can even play it in pure Snake Eyes now, but it kind of feels gimmicky because you need the Flamebird Dragon to go off, put your opponent's monster in the spell and trap zone so that you can special summon it. So there's applications for it. I just don't know if you would play it. Other things I would like to talk about are the other level 1 fires that we have. Penetrator, unfortunately, Geist don't really have much that we can do with it. So this is something that you can maybe look out for in the future, but pretty doubtful. Then we have Laval. This is another interesting one that you can mess around with, though the cards are outdated for the most part. But just another thing to keep in mind if we continue to get fire support and Laval's just happen to fall into our lap. And then I would also like to talk about Rimfire. Most of the times, if you're sending this with the Diabellestarr, you're going to be able to chain block it with the Diabellestarr's effect. So it's pretty much just another copy of Shell if you want to play an extra copy of it. And then finally, I would like to talk about Bonfire, which is add one level 4 lower pyro monster from your deck to your hand, and this can be used when this comes so that you can search any of your Snake Eye monsters, which will definitely be a big boost for the deck. And then also the Fire King level 1 is another level 1 fire that we'll be getting that can probably use this stuff. I haven't messed around with those cards too much yet, so I don't want to speak on it like that, but I just would like to say that this is a level 1 that does have a summon search effect, which is worth noting on its own, seeing as this is what the Diabellestarr into the original Snake Eye combo is pretty much meant for. Now, to talk about some of the main deck options, I would like to talk about the Fenrir's along with the Sinful original one being at 2, and I didn't know how I wanted to adjust these ratios because there is a reasoning to play 3 of these because you do want to get into your Snake Eyes, but in a Snake Eyes deck you are more likely to see your level 1s. While I feel Fenrir is also an important piece of support for this deck, and I call it support, but it's really just a generic thing that you put in there. But the reason being is because you have your Horus cards, which can get you into a rank 8, like Hope, and then you also have Fenrir to give you that extra piece of monster negation. Diabellestarr can get you into the trap, and it's little things like that that individually they may not make a big board on their own, but when you start adding all these pieces together, then it starts to look a lot better, especially when you have the factor of drawing a bunch of cards off of Glory of Horus. You also have the quick play spell that you can end up drawing off of, as well as Coach King, which is a draw 3, so essentially 5 draws in a turn, which can get you into one of the 9 hand traps that you play. tactic talents can also end up being a draw too if you happen to activate that. So just little things to point out there. The volcanic shell is here because it is a level 1 that you can profit off of with Imseti and the Diabellestarr. Just really cool synergy how you can end up adding this off of the Snake Eyes stuff as well, so that you can get that free piece of resource for your Horus stuff while also being able to send this and any other face-up card to continue to get your Snake Eyes engine rolling. Then outside of the main deck, there's the extra deck, and the extra deck I feel is just a bunch of stuff that you can play. There's rank 1s that you really play for Zeus, but then there's also Recital Starling because we play Crow. Then there's the Downward Magician for all of that. There's the rank 8s that we play for the Horus stuff. The Zeus package with the Tifon. Just generic Link monsters that you can play. You can also play the Charmers if you would like to. I think I showed them in one of the replays because I was testing them before, but just ended settling on a more generic extra deck for the deck profile. So anyways, I'll get onto the card by card. To wrap up this video, we have the 3 Diabellestarr, the 3 XL, the 3 Volcanic Shells, the 3 Ash Blossoms, the 1 Happy, the 1 Water, the 2 Orcs, the 3 Horus, the 1 Sarcophagus, the 2 Fenrirs, the 2 Original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye, the 3 Crow, the 3 Sylvia, the 2 White Birch, the 1 Flame Birch, the 3 Wanted, I forget the TCG full name of it, but the 1 Thrust, the 2 Talents, the 3 Imperms, the Fucho in the extra deck. We then have the Assembled Nightingale, Recital Starling, Downward Magician, Dingirsu, Hope, Coach King, Zeus, Tifon, SP, IP, Nightmare Unicorn, Access Code, Appaloosa, and Underworld Goddess to round out the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching and for the 600 plus subs. I truly appreciate your support. We've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships, which means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.